I've always considered myself a masterpiece of controlled cynicism, a meticulously curated collection of vintage teas, dry wit, and an impenetrable shield of sass. My life was fine. It was predictable. It was mine. Then Leo crashed into it, and suddenly my fine, predictable life smelled faintly of burnt espresso and that hyper-sweet scent of cinnamon buns. It happened on a Monday that had already peaked at abysmal when my favorite client decided that no, they didn't want the sleek minimalist logo I'd spent 3 days perfecting. They actually wanted something that looked like a 90s clip art rainbow had exploded on a tax form. I slammed my laptop shut, grabbed my overpriced leather messenger bag, and decided the only cure for existential dread was a triple shot iced latte. I walked straight into Leo outside the daily grind. Not walked past, walked into. Hard. My bag went flying, scattering my life, my keys, my wallet, a crumpled receipt from a disastrous thrift store trip, all over the sidewalk. And then there was the coffee. Someone's perfectly crafted, probably artisan oat milk mocha hit the pavement and created a beautiful, brown, splatter, abstract expressionist painting right on the pristine white of Leo's sneakers. Oh, for the love of... I started, ready to unleash a hurricane of well-practiced sarcasm. But when I looked up, the hurricane stalled. The man standing over me, and he loomed, a glorious wall of warm tan skin and muscle, had eyes the color of worn denim and a smile that could genuinely be described as sunshine. He looked like he just stepped out of a catalog for people who always remember to hydrate. He was holding 2 steaming cups, looking down at his freshly sacrificed mocha, and then back at me. He didn't frown, he didn't curse, he just let out a booming, entirely too cheerful laugh. Whoa, okay, my bad, man. I was totally looking at my phone and not where I was going. Are you hurt? His voice was deep, friendly, and resonated with an almost unbearable sincerity. I, Jude Reyes, master of the cutting retort, found myself stammering. Hurt? No, but your shoes now look like they lost a fight with a swamp monster. He shrugged, already kneeling to help me gather my things. It's fine. They needed a wash anyway. Here, let me get that. He picked up my keys and then paused, squinting at my messenger bag. Is this a graphic design emergency? I snatched my bag back. It's a trauma bag, and you owe me a coffee. Absolutely, he sprang up, his energy levels already making me feel exhausted. Leo, I own the daily grind. Come on, I'll get you the whole drink menu on me. Consider it my penance for the mocha massacre. I looked at the stain on his shoe, then at his blinding smile, then at the way his chest strained slightly against his simple gray t-shirt. He was ridiculously gorgeous, annoyingly friendly, and radiating big golden retriever energy. Fine, I sighed, defeated. But I want that triple shot latte, and if it's lukewarm, I'm sending you the dry cleaning bill for the sidewalk. I didn't mean to go back. I really didn't. But the daily grind made the best lattes, and, well, Leo was usually there, bounding around like an excited puppy who had just been told he was going to the park. I tried to keep my visits purely transactional. I'd walk in, order my drink, offer a cutting remark about the overly enthusiastic quote of the day chalkboard sign, and leave. But Leo was relentless. Jude, looking sharp today. Is that a new sweater? He'd ask, leaning over the counter, his smile never wavering. It's vintage, Leo, and yes, it's new to you because I didn't know you 2 days ago, I'd reply, without looking up from my phone. He'd just chuckle. Right, I just meant it really suits you. It's a great color with your eyes. I'd feel that familiar, unwelcome flush creep up my neck. I hated compliments. They made my armor feel flimsy. One rainy Thursday, I was slumped in a corner booth staring blankly at my laptop, trying to force my brain to be creative. Leo slid into the opposite seat, holding a tiny, intricate-looking pastry. You look like you're trying to design a funeral announcement, he said softly. Worse, I'm trying to make a local dentist's website look fun, but also trustworthy. It's a paradox, Leo, a paradox that demands sugar. He pushed the pastry towards me.
Try this. It's got passion fruit and white chocolate, guaranteed to solve at least 50% of your current woes. I'm allergic to optimism, I warned him. Good thing this is just a pastry then. Look, you seem stressed. Just take 5. Tell me what your actual dream project is, not the dentist stuff. I hesitated, then found myself talking about my niche love for retro typography, about the time I designed a concert poster for a band that actually used it, about the kind of art that makes you feel something and instead of just wanting to buy something. He listened, actually listened, with his whole body, his chin resting on his hand, those denim eyes focused entirely on me. It was infuriating. I was supposed to hate him, or at least treat him like a necessary but annoying transaction. Instead, I found myself thinking, maybe he's not annoying. Maybe I'm just allergic to genuine human connection. So, I asked, after swallowing the pastry. It was admittedly excellent. What's your big dream, Mr. Golden? He grinned. I'm doing it. I love this shop. I love my customers, but I want to start a free cooking class for kids in the neighborhood. Just simple, fun stuff. My business partner, Sarah, says I'm crazy, but man, watching a kid successfully make their own pancake is the best. Of course he did. He wanted to bake cookies and teach small children. He was genetically engineered to be good. Right, because naturally you have the emotional depth of a puddle, but the heart of an actual saint. He just beamed. I'll take that as a compliment from you, Jude. Now, about that date I've been trying to ask you on for 2 weeks. My sass failed me entirely. Fine, but if you try to make me hold hands in public, I'll claim you're trying to steal my watch. Our first date was predictable, a beautiful disaster. Leo decided we should go to an outdoor movie in the park, the kind where everyone brings blankets and tiny rustic baskets of artisanal cheese. It was romantic and utterly terrifying for my cynical soul. He showed up carrying 2 fluffy blankets, a thermos of his special spiced cider, and a genuine hand-woven picnic basket. He even had a small vase with a single sunflower tucked into it. You brought a whole prop department, I observed, crossing my arms. It's called being prepared, Jude. We're going to be cozy. He found a spot, and I was immediately uncomfortable. I hated sitting on the ground. I hated the cheerful buzz of the crowd. I hated how perfect the cider was. Then disaster struck. As Leo leaned in to show me a funny meme on his phone, a rogue squirrel, perhaps attracted by the sunflower, darted past, startling Leo. He flailed, and the entire thermos of warm, sticky, delicious cider went cascading down the front of my white designer jeans. Oh my God, Jude, I am so sorry. I'm a menace. I'm an absolute liability. Leo looked genuinely distraught, his face falling faster than my tolerance for the outdoors. I took a deep breath. This was it, the moment I unleashed the sarcasm torpedo and retreat to my safe lonely island. But looking at his horrified face, I found myself laughing instead, a genuine, surprised laugh that felt strange and wonderful on my chest. Leo, you stain my designer pants with your spiced nectar. You bring a sunflower to a movie, and you're scared of a squirrel. You are the least intimidating man I've ever met. I'm starting to think you were custom-made to annoy me into happiness. He stared. Then his golden smile returned, softer this time. You're laughing. Are you sure you're Jude? Only when you're not around. Come here. I grabbed his hand and pulled him closer, ignoring the stickiness of my pants. The rest of the movie was a blur, but for the first time in ages, my mind wasn't running a list of critiques. It was just focused on the warmth of Leo's side pressed against mine, his arm loosely wrapped around my shoulder, and the sheer, simple, uncomplicated comfort of his presence.
We became exclusive quickly, a whirlwind of high-contrast energy. I was the dark, moody watercolor. He was the primary colored finger painting. Dating Leo was like living with a hyper-efficient 24/7 support system who communicated primarily through physical affection. He was a champion cuddler. My favorite way to spend an evening was curled up on my meticulously neat sofa, me working on a client project, and Leo reading some overly cheerful nonfiction book, his legs draped over mine. The first time we spent the night together was after a particularly stressful week where I'd had zero sleep and had reached peak sass levels. I was exhausted, vulnerable, and probably not my best self. We were already in his bed, the sheets impossibly soft, the room smelling like the cedar and sunshine that seemed to follow him everywhere. He had been kissing me, slow, deep kisses that tasted like the peppermint tea he insisted I drink to relax. I felt safe with him, dangerously safe. He moved above me, his smile shifting from cheerful to something dark and warm, an expression that lit a fire in my stomach. The way he looked at me with such pure, focused adoration made my heart pound against my ribs. "You're beautiful, Jude," he murmured, his hands tracing the line of my jaw, then moving down to the vintage t-shirt I was wearing. "Don't be ridiculous," I breathed, trying to sound aloof, but my body betrayed me, arching into his touch. "I'm sarcastic and messy. You're beautiful." He chuckled, a low, sexy sound that did irreversible damage to my composure. "You're the most honest, funny, and beautiful person I've ever met. And trust me, I've seen a lot of people before 7 a.m. He stripped off my shirt, taking his time, as if studying a delicate work of art. The way he handled me was everything I didn't know I needed. Gentle, yet possessive. He never rushed. He took his time learning my body, making sure every touch, every kiss, every single movement was focused entirely on my pleasure. It wasn't just physical, it was deeply, surprisingly emotional. As things heated up and his touch became more demanding, pressing me into the mattress, his breath hot against my ear, I finally gave up the fight. "You're impossible," I whispered, burying my fingers in his thick, soft hair. "Only for you," he replied, his voice rough with desire. "Only for you, my amazing, sassy nightmare." He was a giver, in every sense of the word. He loved to hold me down, loved to see me helpless and breathless beneath him, but his control was always soft, always considerate. He loved the sounds I made, loved the way my carefully guarded, cool exterior melted away, leaving only raw, honest desire. Every time he moved, he was asking, "Is this good?" And the answer was always a desperate, wordless yes, more. When it was over, I was a damp, gasping wreck, utterly boneless. He didn't move away. Instead, he wrapped me entirely around his body, tucking my head under his chin, his scent enveloping me. Did you enjoy that?" he mumbled, already half asleep. "I am never admitting that out loud, Leo. You're lucky you're soft." "I'm always soft for you, my love," and I felt the words resonate deep in my chest before he finally succumbed to sleep. I lay there awake for a while, listening to his steady heartbeat, feeling the profound connection that transcended the simple, joyful heat of the moment. I had let him in, not just into my bed, but into the fragile, messy core of me, and he hadn't flinched. That was the most intimate thing of all. Everything was almost too perfect. That, for me, was the real problem. My mind, trained for conflict and self-sabotage, started looking for the catch. It came to a head when Leo threw me a surprise birthday party. I hate surprises. I hate being the center of attention. I hate forced cheerfulness. I walked into a room full of people, including my sister, whom I hadn't seen in 6 months, and Sarah, his business partner, and saw a giant, slightly wonky cake that clearly read, "Happy birthday to my favorite cynic." The sheer, overwhelming love in the room made my throat tighten with panic. When Leo walked up to me, his golden eyes shining with pride, I snapped. "What is this, Leo?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. "A party. I told you I had a thing planned. You needed a proper celebration, Jude."
I told you I just wanted pizza and a bad movie. You didn't listen. You never listen. You just do whatever your big, happy, golden brain tells you is the best thing without ever considering that maybe I don't want the best thing. Maybe I want the quiet, boring, safe thing. The joy drained from his face. The music seemed to mute. Jude, I just wanted you to feel loved. I know you hate fuss, but your sister flew in for this. I spent a week trying to get that cake to look decent. Oh, I know you tried. That's the problem, isn't it? You try so hard to make everything sunshine and puppies that you don't even see the person underneath. You see the rescue project. You see the stray dog you can domesticate with treats. I'm not a rescue project, Leo, and I don't need saving. It was cruel. I knew it as soon as the words left my mouth. The look in his eyes, not hurt, but confused, like a puppy whose owner had suddenly hit him, was devastating. A rescue project? Leah repeated, stepping back. You think I love you because I pity you? Jude, I love you because you're funny and smart, and your sarcasm hides the biggest, most loyal heart I've ever encountered. I love you because you're the only person who can call me an idiot and make me feel like it was a compliment. I love you because you make me want to be better. This isn't a project. This is my life, man. I thought it was yours too. He looked around at the awkward, silenced guests. Happy birthday, Jude. And then he walked out. He didn't run. He just walked, slow and heavy, leaving me alone in the middle of my perfectly arranged, disastrous surprise party. The cake, the cider, the sunflower, all of it suddenly felt like suffocating weights. I had won. I had driven him away, and the victory tasted like ash. I spent 3 days in a miserable haze, surviving on instant noodles and the crushing guilt of knowing I had just thrown away the best thing that ever happened to me. I ignored his texts. I didn't answer the door. I was back in my fortress, but now it felt empty and cold. On the fourth night, there was a knock. Not the tentative tap of a friend, but a firm, steady rhythm. I opened the door, ready to deliver another cutting line, but the sight of him stopped me. Leo looked tired, his hair was messy, and he was holding a crumpled paper bag, not a sunflower. I'm not leaving until you talk to me, he stated, crossing his arms. The golden retriever was gone, replaced by something far more serious and stubborn. I love you, Jude, and if you want to push me away, you have to do it by telling me why you think you don't deserve this, not by calling me names. I leaned against the doorframe, trying to look unimpressed, but failing miserably. I told you why. We're too different. You're happy. I'm complicated. I'll ruin it. You're afraid, he said, simply, not asking, stating. You're afraid that if you let someone see the soft part, they'll break it or they'll use it against you. And you think I'm too dumb or too happy to notice when you're building walls. My breath hitched. He wasn't dumb. He was perceptive. I've seen walls, Jude. I've spent my life watching people build walls to keep the bad stuff out. But you've built yours so high, you're keeping the good stuff out too. And I'm not leaving until you drop them, brick by brick. Tears sprang to my eyes, hot and unwelcome. My sass failed entirely. It just melted into a raw, ugly sob. I don't know how to do this, Leo, I choked out. I don't know how to just trust that you're going to stay. He didn't say another word. He just stepped into the apartment, dropped the crumpled bag on the floor, and pulled me into his arms. He held me tight, not moving, just letting me cry against his broad, solid chest. It felt like coming home after a decade of fighting a terrible storm. When my tears subsided, he gently lifted my chin. His eyes were intensely serious. I'm right here, he promised, his voice a low rumble, and I'm not going anywhere. I'll fight the walls, the sarcasm, the bad days, and the ugly cries, but you have to let me fight, okay? I nodded, unable to speak, and kissed him. It was a kiss of apology, of surrender, and of desperate, overwhelming need. The air instantly thickened around us. All the residual stress, the hurt, and the fear turned into a desperate, immediate desire to reconnect. He kicked the door shut and backed me up against the nearest wall, his mouth never leaving mine. His hands slid under my shirt, exploring the vulnerable skin of my back, sending shivers through my body that had nothing to do with fear. "I was miserable without you," he confessed, pulling back just enough to gasp for air.
Good, I managed, gripping his shoulders, pulling him closer until there was no space left between us. You deserve a little misery for being so damn perfect. I'll take the misery, as long as it's with you. That night, there was no gentle exploration. It was a fierce, passionate reunion. We tore off each other's clothes, urgent and frantic, confirming that the physical connection, the intimacy, was still blazing and beautiful. He moved with a new kind of intensity, a deeper certainty that he belonged right here, with me, in this bed. He was louder this time, his low moans of pleasure driving me wild. I loved the way he overpowered me, the gentle weight of his body pressing me into the sheets, the sound of my name on his lips, desperate and adoring. I needed to feel him everywhere, to know he was solid and real and still mine. The act was an affirmation. We are okay. We survived the drama. We are better than the fear. Afterward, as the lights came back on, literally, he insists on good lighting, we lay facing each other, breathless and tangled. "So," I said, tracing the pattern of his abs with my finger, "what's in the crumpled bag?" Leo reached for it. "Oh, it's a peace offering. I stopped by the shop and made you a compromise. It's pizza, like you wanted, but I made the dough myself and added truffle oil. And a really bad movie. But I downloaded a 6-hour documentary on the history of doorknobs. You pick which one is worse." I laughed, feeling the last of the tension melt away. "You're an idiot." "I'm your idiot," he corrected, pulling me close again. 5 years later, our apartment is a delightful war zone between my minimalist tendencies and Leo's collection of novelty mugs and soft blankets. He still owns the coffee shop and now runs the kids' cooking classes he dreamed of. I run my design studio from home, occasionally helping him design posters that are fun but also trustworthy. I still have my moments. A few weeks ago, he planned a spontaneous weekend trip, and I immediately threw up my defenses. I can't just go, Leo. I have to pack. I have to mentally prepare. What if the hotel sheets are scratchy? What if they don't have good coffee? He didn't argue. He just walked over to my desk, lifted me into his arms like I weighed nothing, and carried me to the bedroom. "We're going in 3 hours," he said, nuzzling my neck. "Until then, I'm mentally preparing you for scratchy sheets by reminding you exactly how good I am at distracting you from any and all discomfort." He still smiled with that impossible, blinding warmth, but now it was directed solely at me, and I knew it was real, honest, and utterly unconditional. The golden retriever was still there, but now he was a deeply loyal, fiercely protective guardian of my heart. My sass, thankfully, hasn't gone anywhere. "Fine," I grumbled, already melting into his touch. "But if this plane is delayed, you're paying for my therapy." He just laughed, that wonderful, sincere boom of sound. "Deal. Now, come here, my beautiful, complicated catastrophe. Let me save you from scratchy sheets." I rolled my eyes, but I pulled him closer anyway, finally safe in the sunshine.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more BL stories.